Welcome to Season 2 of Boundless, where we give voice to Good Shepherd Rehabilitation's patients and their families. Our guests share the remarkable stories of how they triumphed over illness, injury, and disability through the arduous but life-changing process of rehabilitation. My guest today is 21, but what she has gone through is like several lifetimes for any of us. Caroline Laubach was diagnosed with a serious heart condition, which led to a tumultuous journey, to say the least, that led her to being here today. Caroline, I was taken aback by your story and your resilience through it all. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So, before we get into your illness, tell us a little bit about yourself, your personality. You do radiate optimism and I would say even joy. And I love those new glasses that you got. I understand they're new.
Thank you. They are.
Those heart-shaped glasses, which kind of lead us into your journey, right?
Just a little bit.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, your personality, your family, your support system.
Yeah, so I'm 21 years old now. I just began my first semester at Cedar Crest College.
In Allentown.
Yes, as an undergraduate in nutrition, and eventually I hope to go on to complete an occupational therapy doctorate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a great goal. That's a terrific, a lot of ambition there. And it looks like, you're loaded with enthusiasm, so that's what it takes to get there. I don't have to tell you that. And we'll learn that as we go along.
Yeah, of course.
So tell us about your family.
Well, I have two siblings, an older brother and older sister, so I am the baby of the family. Yeah, we're all very close. I became even closer with my older sister throughout this
Right. And her
journey.
name is Meredith?
Yes,
Is that
Meredith.
right? Yeah.
She's probably watching this.
So tell us about your health journey and your life journey, really.
Yeah.
It's about your cardio system, and it's what you were suffering from has a very long name.
Yes.
And let's see if I get it right. It's a left ventricular non-compaction cardiomyopathy.
Yeah, that was right.
What is that?
Well, when your heart forms as you're growing up, it forms as the interior walls as smooth. And when you have this condition, it forms spongy instead of smooth. So it has a really hard time pumping blood, and it tends to overwork itself.
Right. And so then it's not strong enough to really pump adequately.
No, not at all. And when I got to the hospital, my heart rate was crazy because it was trying to keep up with the rest of my body.
Wow. And when did this all happen? And what led to the diagnosis?
Yeah, so I was in my freshman year of college in 2022.
Right. You were going to Millersville, I believe.
Yeah, at the time. It was during my spring semester. I started having weird symptoms like shortness of breath. I had this strange dry cough and body aches that just wouldn't go away in January and early February of 2022. Right. And it just progressively got worse to the point where I wasn't able to keep food down. I couldn't breathe on my way to class. I would have to stop and sit on a bench just to catch my breath. Wow. And my body just hurt all the time. I was so tired. So I came home mid-February and went to a local urgent care.
Right. And we should say, prior to this, you were very active.
I was.
You for all intents and purposes, felt, perfectly normal.
Yeah, I did.
All those years growing up.
Yeah, I did competitive horseback riding for many years. I, would skateboard for a long time. I was really into yoga. I tried to live a good and active, healthy lifestyle.
Life. Yeah. And so this must be coming as quite a shock, but you're not really aware of how serious it is yet.
No, I didn't really think that anything serious was happening to me. I thought it must have been some weird form of the flu or COVID, and when I kept getting negative test results back for that, we started to really question what was happening to me.
Right.
And
So the first stop
yeah,
was the urgent care.
it was. And there they took a chest x ray because I was having shortness of breath. And they saw that I had a lot of fluid in my lungs,
Hmm.
so much to the point where you couldn't really see any of my organs on the chest x ray.
Really?
Yeah, it was intense. And that was when I was misdiagnosed with walking pneumonia.
Ugh. And that's a problem because then that, time is of the essence.
It was. It was crunch time, and I fooled around a lot with taking different antibiotics and feeling a little bit better and then suddenly declining. And it got to the point in early March where I was actually sleeping in my mom's bed and asking her to watch me fall asleep because I felt like I was not breathing when I would fall asleep.
Wow. That you might not wake up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, so ultimately, where does all this lead? And this is all happening quickly.
Yes, just within a couple of weeks. I think it was March 6th of 2022. I went to a local emergency room because I was just not getting better. It was a rapid decline, and that's when they found that I was in end-stage heart failure, I was in liver failure, and kidney failure.
Oh my gosh. And this is really a genetic thing, isn't it?
Yes, it all stemmed from the heart. The kidney and liver failure was just
Right.
because my heart was shutting down.
And you were just at that age where it finally came to fruition, where all these
Yeah.
symptoms were coming about.
Yeah, so left ventricular non-compaction cardiomyopathy can present itself in infancy when you're really little, or it can present itself towards the end of puberty around 18, 19 years old. And it can present itself later in life in your 50s or 60s. And it just so happened for me that it presented when I was 18.
Wow. And so you're now in a situation where your heart isn't working and you need a
No.
new heart.
Yeah. At that emergency room, they decided that I need to go directly into emergency surgery to have an impella placed into my heart, which
Mhm.
is a small device that helps your heart pump blood. Um, I had that surgery, and it was explained to my mom and my family that I needed to go to a bigger hospital that was more well equipped to handle my case. And she chose to medevac me to Penn.
Mhm. And that's when the transplant part of this journey takes place, right? You have to go
Kind
on a
of.
list.
Yeah, so everybody who's listed on a transplant list goes in order of severity of the condition and what type of mechanical support you are on. When I got to Penn, they realized that my impella was placed incorrectly,
Mhm.
so it was shearing my red blood cells in half.
Oh, gosh.
This meant that they had to take it out and place me on ECMO, which um, it oxygenates your blood for you, it
Mhm.
circulates your blood for you. It's considered a last-ditch effort.
Right.
It's the
These are like
highest form of life
heroic
support.
efforts, they call them.
Yeah, yeah, it was. And I was on that for about 3 weeks,
Wow.
waiting for my heart transplant.
So you're on the list, you're waiting
Yes.
for it, and something else happens that gets in your way.
Yeah, about 3 days before my heart transplant, I started having tingling and numbness in my legs and feet. I felt like it was really difficult to move,
Mhm.
and they did some neuro tests and found that I was having a spinal stroke.
Oh my gosh. And that's why you're now wheelchair bound,
Yes,
right?
yes. I like to say wheelchair user because I don't consider it so much bound to me
Uh-huh.
anymore. I
Good point.
I
Thank you.
consider it my freedom.
Right.
It allows me to live my life to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to look at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so then what happens? You're on the list, but
Mhm.
now you've had the stroke, so now you're on hold.
Yes, I was placed on a brief hold. I think it was only for 24 to
Hmm.
48 hours.
And that's got to be upsetting, not for you and
Yeah.
your family.
Yeah. Yeah, because at that point I had been on a ventilator for a while from pulmonary flashes,
Right.
and it was explained to my family that if I did not get a heart in the next couple of days when I was taken off the hold that they needed to start making death plans for me.
Oh my gosh. Unless you face that kind of thing as a parent, as the person involved, of course, the
Yeah.
patient. I don't think there's any way to really describe the feelings, the emotions.
No, there's not. It was, and I wasn't very aware for a lot of it because my mom decided to let my medical team know that they needed to only talk positively in front of me.
Right.
She wanted to keep any negativity and
Sure.
the true severity of my condition from outside of my room.
Right. And so, fortunately, you the hold was taken off, and
Yes.
you did get the transplant.
I did. I did.
That's a huge transformation.
There's a lot that goes into it. A lot of the time, the hospital will get a call that they have a heart for you, and you will be prepped. There's a ton of paperwork you have to sign. For me, because my heart condition was so rare, it was an option for me to donate my heart to research, and I did. I wanted to help further research for this very small community of people.
Right. How were you dealing with all of this?
I didn't handle it very well at first. I have to admit, I
Yeah.
have never felt the need to really get upset at doctors or nurses or social workers, but when it was explained to me that I was paralyzed and how big of a life change this transplant really would be, I definitely had a meltdown. And I think I was just mostly upset that I couldn't just go back to college and be with my friends.
Of course.
It was that immediate realization that it was going to be very different for
Right.
forever.
Right. It's a big paradigm shift.
It was yes, a big
so to
jump.
speak. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I don't think I really saw everything that happened to me as a positive, really up until this year. I was always very deeply thankful for the ways that my life had been saved. I'm thankful every day for my donor. It's the
Wow.
most selfless gift
That
that
is-
somebody can give.
Yeah.
Um,
Good point. For
Yeah.
when you're choosing to be a donor or not.
yes,
You're a perfect example of why that's so important.
it is. And there's so many other people just like me who
Mhm.
are still waiting on that list and are depending on people to be a donor.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now, that this heart transplant is, giving you new life and renewed life. And so, how do we get into a rehabilitation from there?
It was a process.
Uh-huh.
I was in an inpatient rehab center from mid-April till early June of 2022, so it was a very long time.
Right.
But I feel like the mental change took a lot longer to get
Mhm.
adjusted. I had to start seeing my life as something I couldn't give up on because I knew that somebody had given up something so big for me.
Wow.
So that was the first step of motivation.
Right.
And as I started becoming more involved with the transplant community and with the disabled community, I saw everything that happened to me as a way that I needed to be redirected to be put on the right path.
Right.
I feel like everything happened for a reason,
Mhm.
and it happened so my purpose could find me.
Right. And so you were involved with rehabilitation,
Mhm.
and then how did Good Shepherd come into the equation?
Well, they came in very early. I was actually at a Good Shepherd inpatient rehab facility down in Philly right after my heart transplant.
Right.
And we had done some research about where I could go for physical therapy once I came home. And we knew that Good Shepherd would be the best option for me. They have an amazing neuro program, and they're constantly finding new ways to innovate technology and get you back out there and living your best life.
Right. And how does physical therapy the kind of advanced physical therapy that
Mhm.
you've had and are having, how does it help you do that?
Yeah, so a lot of it was just getting my strength back at first. I had lost a lot of muscle mass. I was very tiny and skinny and
Hmm.
very frail, and they really helped build it from the bottom up. I mean, when you're first disabled, especially with paralysis, you have to find this new center of gravity. And I used to tell people that even just sitting up on my bed unassisted felt like I was just a floating head. It was really difficult, and they were there every step of the way to make me feel comfortable, to make me feel like I could get stronger again.
Right. And I guess that is one of the major dangers of disabilities is that your muscles can atrophy and
Yes.
your
Yeah.
body can become, as you say, like weak to the point where you feel it's not even functional anymore.
Yeah, and I definitely was very weak, and it took a long time to finally feel strong again, and just even strong mentally, feeling empowered by this new body. I was 18 years old, very healthy and very fit, and doing pretty much anything I wanted. And then I was struck with this life in a wheelchair, and I didn't see it as a positive at first, and I didn't see how I would ever feel confident in my body ever again. And it took a long time, but you learn that, being different makes you even better. It makes you special. It makes you
Right.
beautiful.
Right. And I found it very interesting that in addition to all the different technologies and therapies,
Mm.
there is a kind of exoskeleton that they
Oh,
have
yes.
that you can attach to and walk independently or
Yeah.
almost independently.
Yeah. As independent as I might ever get. I don't know.
Hmm.
But it was this new leg of freedom. The first time I got in to the exoskeleton, my first reaction was, oh, this is so weird, because at that point it had been 2 years since I had walked in any way, and I forgot how like tall I was. I'm
Oh,
five
you're
six,
standing
so
up straight
yes,
and
walking around, I'm like, oh, I'm the same height as all my therapists. This is so weird.
no one even would think of that. But yeah, that
Right.
has to be a definite, perception that you have.
Yeah, I'm constantly looking up at people, so it was so nice
Right.
to walk next to somebody and have a conversation at the same level.
Get
It
up out
was,
of the wheelchair and you
yeah,
strap on those, the
yeah,
exoskeleton.
yes.
I'm sure there's a long technical name for it. And it's like electromechanical and
Mhm.
it's smart,
It is. They can customize, of course, to everybody's size,
mhm.
but they also customize to step height, step length. So if you have longer legs, you can take longer, higher steps. That will make it more of a natural motion that would be closer to your natural pattern of walking.
Right. And it doesn't really feel as though you're really free to walk.
Yes and no.
Uh,
It is very freeing. You are aware that it feels a little bit robotic,
right.
but it's very close to the real thing, or what I remember the real thing being like.
Right. And the other thing, we have these technologies, but we also have the people who know how to use them. And so
Yes.
the people who have helped you, the therapists, the
Mhm.
physicians, to get you going and to help
Mhm.
you meet your goals,
Yeah.
they're so important too.
They are. They're amazing. I mean, I would be nowhere without
Mm.
all of them. I've loved every therapist I've ever come across. They all are just so creative and find new ways to empower everybody just beyond your physical means. It's an amazing
That's
thing
an
to be a
interesting
part of.
point because
Yeah.
no two people are the same.
No, and especially with spinal cord injuries, everybody is so different, and I could have the same level of paralysis as somebody else, and they could feel totally different than I do, or they could have some muscle function whereas I don't. It's very unique.
Individual.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the therapists, like you say, have
Mm.
to be creative.
They do. They have to come up with customized plans for every single person,
Hmm.
and progress isn't always linear, so they have to figure out how to make it the best for you that they can.
Right. Yeah, I think you're the kind of person that actually would actually inspire and uplift the people helping you. You have that personality, and I think that's just really amazing.
Thank you. I've been told that a couple times.
So, what are you from the time you began your physical therapy to now? What progress has been made? What goals have you hit?
There's a lot of progress that's been made. When I first started getting up just in a standing frame, which is the first step to getting into an exoskeleton, you have to make sure that you can stand up without your blood pressure dropping and you passing out. And that was a hard hurdle to get over. I really struggled with low blood pressure for a long time, and some of that for the first year of me being paralyzed was just because I had cancer and didn't know it
Oh,
right
that's
away.
right. You did have a cancer diagnosis as
Yeah.
well. That
Yeah,
fortunately you're in remission.
I am. Yes.
So it's one more thing that you really needed, right?
No, yeah, just a little something.
Yeah, just a little something.
Yeah, but that was a hard hurdle to get over. Just feeling like I wanted to progress, but I couldn't yet, and yeah, it was hard.
Right. So now you're. What are your goals? What are you doing now that you've reached a certain level of independence and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, I have.
you're at Cedar Crest College now?
I am. Yes, I commute, but I'm there full time for classes. I am secretary of the Disabled Students Union Club there. We just got it off the ground this spring semester.
That's great.
Yeah, we're trying to really get it out there and get our message out there.
Right. And so, you're using all of the things that you've gone through to help others. We hear this from many of the people that we have on the show, and it's very inspiring. And the kind of things that you can bring to that connection must be amazing for those people who are facing the same kind of things, perhaps, that you did.
Yeah, it is. I say a lot that I feel like my purpose found me. I didn't find it. It found me. And I find myself wanting to give back some of the light that was gifted to me throughout all of this. And I want to help other people. I want to help make other people's lives better.
Right. Just the way you embraced a gratitude for the heart that you got and the people who have helped you. That's the kind of gratitude that other people are finding through your experience.
Yeah, and I find it through other people's experience too.
Right.
I think a lot of the time I learn a lot of things from other people, and I feel inspired by so many other people in my community. They've made me feel human again.
Wow. Well, and that's what it's all about,
Yeah,
right?
it
Being
is.
human.
Yes.
I want to thank you for joining us. Your story is an amazing one, of course,
Thank you.
and it's going to help an awful lot of people.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
have
I
a
hope
feeling.
so. Thank you.
It already has. So thank you, Caroline, for sharing your remarkable journey. Anyone going through their own challenges will certainly be inspired by it, right along with everyone else, including the people in this room. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Glad you enjoyed it. You're welcome. And that's it for us. Check in with us next time for another episode of Boundless and more personal stories of perseverance, health, and wellness from Good Shepherd Rehabilitation. I'm Grover Silcox. Thanks for tuning in.